please.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
Ayes? Everyone say aye.
Aye.
Motion's passed. Thank you. Minutes. We will read the minutes unless they're waived. Motion to waive, accept and waive.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
Second?
I'll second that.
Ayes? Nays?
Aye.
Excellent, passed. Remarks and petitions. Is there anyone here who would like to speak? Okay. That passes as a no.
Am I supposed to speak now?
If you'd like to.
If you'd like to, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I should have brought my glasses, I guess. I brought my other car.
Michelle, would you do me a favor and come up to the podium over here so we can catch your audio?
Jessica.
Or Jessica,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Alright.
Just kind of like
I
up here.
apologize, I've never been.
It's okay. This new, we changed it
We're-
around too. Just
it's-
kind of up
She
here.
just said.
It's a change for us too, so don't worry about it.
So we can pick you up on the mic here.
Oh, okay. So where would you like me to stand?
Just here in front of Andrea and Michelle.
Oh, okay.
And address the board.
Okay, now I can see. All right, so we are, the Clarkson Farm Estates would like to consider installing a speed sign, one of the ones that tell you how fast you're going, and that's about it.
So what,
Yeah, sorry.
what I understand you're looking for is the LED solar operated
Yeah,
speed
the solar,
signs.
yes.
Similar
that's
to
correct.
what we have in Kerrs Mill Estates.
Mhm.
And to do that,
Oh, or similar to the one that's in
Oh.
West Hampton.
okay, and I don't know the difference between the two of them. I know the one in Kerrs Mill Estates is,
It's a little smaller, if I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
it may be.
It is, it's aesthetically different.
Okay, well, and we'll have to take a look at the cost on that. Michelle, do you, excuse me for a moment? You and I had talked about the sign in Kerrs Mill Estates because I thought it might be more better suited to their application given the size, but they are considering the larger sign that's in West Hampton.
Right.
Do you have any idea the cost difference?
Well, that one is probably the $4,500 one, which is what we put into the budget.
Okay.
Because we weren't sure, but the other one is less expensive,
Okay,
probably about $2,500.
Okay.
okay,
But you'd have to buy a pole also, because Kerrs Mill Estates, they've installed it on an existing street sign.
Okay.
okay. All right, well, we will, at some point here, I know we're going to discuss that.
Yeah, I had a question.
ARPA.
Do you want to know who is speeding? Is it going to keep track of that? The one in Forest Hills does.
Does it have a camera?
I don't know, but they can tell who's speeding.
Kerrs Mill Estates does not have a camera. We can see percentage of people over the speed and like fastest and stuff like that, but you don't know who.
Does it also give the time of day, kind of the average? It says, like noon to 3
think
is
it
the
does.
largest. Because that's one of our issues, for sure, for speeding is the delivery trucks, one particular school bus, which I've already called. Last school year I called Rockwood School District. I don't know if they addressed it. And then usually the landscapers, we have some issues as well. I don't know if anyone else sees that in your neighborhood.
I think that's a pretty common trend. I know the delivery drivers in particular drive a lot more quickly than I personally like
Yeah,
in the manners.
yeah. So
Where-
that's a good option, I think. Do you like that option?
Of,
Of
That it
seeing the
will-
kind of the percentage who's speeding.
I think anything that would help to slow that down is a good thing. Definitely.
I do have a question that's off of that. It's just, again, throwing out ideas, because right now we're in just the initial idea phase. Is I didn't know if any neighborhoods
nice
had,
and gentle.
not speed bumps, but the speed humps. If that,
I don't
Was
know of any
something-
neighborhood that does.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay. Not, so the speed bump, you go, 5 miles an hour. A speed hump, you can go 20, 25 miles an hour. Because that's another option. Again, we're still in the initial discussion phase right now.
Our subdivision
I would say.
approached that method probably 20 years ago, and we were told at the time that the fire department is the one that opposed that. Now, could things have changed from then to now? I don't think we've ever discussed the bumps since we were bumped off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if
It's
that
really
was
for
an
public
option as
safety.
well, a speed hump.
That was my thought.
The only thing I'm jumping on, late to the party here, but who heavily regulates anything doing with speed bumps or speed devices would be your fire departments.
Okay.
So
So
they have
we
the
need to
fire
go
code
to
regulate.
them to
Yeah,
see.
because
I've already talked to them, and they
Okay.
will not allow
They
that.
won't approve it?
No.
Okay.
I mean that they have the most recent fire code. There's certain things in there to, they call it speed tampering. I mean, but talk to them. The fire marshal will tell you what's allowable.
Okay, I'll ask them.
'Cause-
Because we certainly don't want speed bumps. We don't want to slow down a crawl.
No, you don't want an
Or-
ambulance
yeah.
coming through.
Well, exactly,
Yeah.
any of that, the emergency services.
Or do you all plan to submit an application then? Once
Yeah.
you sort it out among yourselves and what
Yeah,
what
so
it
this
you
is
want?
just our initial, just seeing if it can be approved and then we still have to vote on it. Well, that's why I said we're still in the idea process right now and everyone's just kind of throwing out ideas over this. We want to do about a week of ideas. That's what we just came up with, by the way.
Well,
Earlier today, I hadn't filled in to Lynn that we were thinking maybe give everybody in the neighborhood a week to kind of come up with some ideas.
Well, Brock and Jeff are part of the ARPA committee. Lynn, who is not here, is also the third member. So that would be something that would have to be, that application would have to be submitted to them. And of course, it has to be obligated by December 31.
Yes, and then we
So-
still need the bids, the
You,
3 bids and stuff.
Just one bid.
Oh,
now,
just-
oh,
actually.
we only
Yeah,
need
the
one bid.
original requirements were for 3,
Okay.
but ultimately, most of the bid projects rather were about street repair.
Yeah.
And getting 3 bids to do street repair
Was almost impossible.
was difficult. So yeah, we just reduced it down to just one written
Okay.
bid.
Okay, that's good to know.
well, I don't know how many sources there are for these types of signs, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the other issue.
Probably could
Yeah.
be limited as well.
Okay, well,
Okay.
just let us know, keep us informed, and
Okay, yeah.
we'll be happy.
Jessica and I put out reflectors today. We like to do 2, one going one way, one going the other way, if that's possible.
Well, there's a limited amount of funds available to you guys from ARPA. So anything over and above those monies,
Would be on us.
that's on your,
Then that's kind of what we need to find out for sure in
Okay.
the investigation. We put out the reflectors, the first one being coming in and the second one for the people speeding out. So if anybody wants a visual about what we were thinking of placement.
Mhm.
Are people along there afraid they're gonna get hit by these cars, or what is the problem?
I had one issue last year and I called the police. That was the substitute mail lady almost ran my son over while he was fishing. So, and there was kind of a lull in the neighborhood where you didn't have so many little kids, but now with new families coming in, we're seeing more younger children again and more kids playing outside. So it's definitely an issue. And I know for a fact that's why I said right now we're kind of all throwing out ideas, but I do know most of us are in agreement about the speeding issue. So, but I think that's kind of a concern with most neighborhoods, especially with kids.
But I would say your streets are probably one of the more narrow.
Yes, and we
Streets
have a
in the whole
blind,
city.
the
you have
corner
a
of
pretty
Delen's is-
extreme curve by Delen's
Yes,
house, I
and
know.
it's a blind curve, because one of the other ideas that has been thrown out is putting a mirror, so installing, that lamp post by Larry's, is installing a mirror so that you can see who's coming. is, and it is an issue, and my son and I ride a lot, our bicycles, and, that's why I said you're just seeing a lot more kids now.
Well, and it's summer too, but I know Jeff, I can speak to our subdivision. There may have been a few times when I have been coming in with a little greater alacrity than perhaps was prudent, and those signs definitely slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder. Yeah.
It makes you aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Anybody else?
Any questions from anybody? Well, we'll wait to hear from you.
Okay.
Oh, Mary, you want to?
Yes. You're old, you want to be COVID. Yes. I'm Mary Swearingen. I live in Clarkson Farm, and I am concerned about the speed and the safety because we have small children. And I live at, the curve goes like this. This is not a very wide street. And when you go around the curve, I'm right at the end. I'm going to be toast one of these days because I go out to get my mail and I can hear it coming. Trucks, buses, some of the speeding cars, they can easily go over the low curb and it can throw them off. I am not for boulders. I'm not for rocks because I feel that somebody might hit it and tip. It's a very scary situation. I've lived there for years, and it's getting worse. And now we've got the teenagers in our subdivision that might think that's fun to go around there screeching the wheels. So my concern is the safety of the neighborhood, especially, we have little toddlers, and some of them are walking by the curb, that curb's not going to protect them. So I'm a witness. I may be toast someday, and you'll all remember that I came in front of you. So.
Well, no, we appreciate it, and I've visited your lots, and I'm familiar with that curve.
I was gonna say, I drove through there today as well. I saw the reflectors that you all put out and stuff like that, so I'm aware of the specific curve you're describing.
Yeah, something needs to be done.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Okay, Chesterfield Police Report. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of May, we had 161 self-initiated and radio assignments. We had 5 incidents that required police reports. We had 12 alarms, all of which were false alarms. We had 14 open garage door notifications that were left in the overnight hours. We had 2 accidents this month. One was a minor one where 2 cars found each other on the Marquette lot, but there was no injuries or any significant damage there. We had another one, we've seen this repeat itself over and over again, right out in front of City Hall here during rush hour, where people are attempting to turn left into the parking lot, and people stop and wave them on, but then here comes the guy down the shoulder and pow, right into him. So we had another one of those. And those people obviously are cited for driving on the shoulder as they all tell us all the time they're going to turn into this parking lot, but they're pulling 30 miles an hour as they go by it. So that's a little contraindicated there. We had 27 moving violations that were issued, tickets that were issued, as well as 11 non-moving violations that were issued, along with 74 warnings for a total of 112 total traffic enforcements. We had 2 arrests. One was a summons that was issued to a resident for violating an ex parte order of protection. Was not supposed to be at the home, but went there anyway. And then we had a misdemeanor arrest that emanated from a warrant arrest that was from a car stop at Clarkson and Forest Club. The driver was found to be wanted in another jurisdiction. And then we had a burglary that occurred on Crown Hill. These folks were out of town for some time, for well over a month, and when they came back, the house was somewhat ransacked, and but the only thing that was taken was a notebook that had some passwords in it. So there is a little video, but it's grainy. It's hard to tell exactly what it was, but it happened just a few days before they came home. So obviously somebody knew what they were looking for, went in, got it, and got out. So. And that's really it. And a nice, relatively easy one.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Okay, my turn. Update. Lynn and I completed the budget for 24-25, and we will vote on this later tonight, and I know we'll discuss it. The court revenue report came in. We have $3,656.27. And as an aside, I might also add that at 4 o'clock tonight, I'm unaware of the outcome or results. Housing court took place, and one of our residents was summoned to appear before the court again. So we'll have to see how that develops. Kerswood is hosting their annual picnic again at Faust Park and has invited everyone, including our generous police and associated officers. They would like all of us to come. It starts at 2 p.m., the food served at 4 p.m., and I would like a head count by Thursday, close of business. So anyone who's interested in coming, Jeff, Andrew, it's your ward certainly, and anyone else, Honora, Brock, Michelle, Andrea, you're all welcome. They would love to see you. Put faces behind voices, it'd be great.
What's the date of that again? I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
The date.
That is this Saturday, and it is 2 p.m. And they will serve food at 4 p.m. Sam and I went last year. It was really nice. It was very nice. They have a pavilion that they reserve in Faust Park, and it's a great chance to sit down and chat with some of the residents. Okay, status report from Aldermen. Andrew.
Thank you, Mayor. As of a little earlier today, thanks to your message, Jeff and I have a little more work to do with our sewer department. The same folks in Kersmill Estates that we were speaking with last fall are having some odor issues again. So to the extent that some sort of rights were tried to be, or some sort of adjustments were tried to be made, and they tried to fix it and seal all the maintenance holes and everything. It was not permanent. I was skeptical that it ever would be, and so we're going to have to pick that back up again.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
both. So appreciate that. Have you communicated that to?
We have not.
We just chatted about
We've
it.
talked about
Okay,
it.
all right, thanks. Well, let me know what they say, because I know they were really grateful for your intercession last year.
Yeah, and actually because of Jeff's point of contact at MSD, they
Yeah.
seemed like they were taking it seriously. They had engineering
We'll see
teams
this
out
thing.
there and everything, so we just have to pick it back up.
Very cool. Well, thank you.
That's all, thanks.
Brock?
I don't have anything this month.
Nothing? Okay. Jeff?
I have nothing to add.
Honora?
No.
Okay, Brock and Honora, I want to mention to you that in your ward, the housing court tonight involved a house that's in Dunhill, which I believe is in your ward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know anything about it? Have you been
No.
to see the property?
I've seen the property, not
Okay.
recently, but I'm aware that it went to court tonight, but like you said,
Have you had any conversation with the HOA at all?
No.
Okay, well, I would recommend that you reach out to them. These are the people that you guys represent, and I know they're having a problem.
I also represent the person that owns the property too, so.
This is true.
Maybe I should talk to him.
I think you should talk to both of them. I think it'd be great.
do they not feel they're being adequately taken care of by the court with regard to the matter? The
Who?
HOA and their interests.
It's been
in
a struggle
resolving.
to get this issue to this point,
Yeah,
because
I know the
this
issue we're
has
talking about.
been going on for a long time, so,
Forever,
yeah. So, and in order to your point, there are two sides to every story, so I would suggest you talk to both of them. And maybe next month you can let us know what you heard. That'd be great. Okay, who am I leaving out here? I think I got Andrew, Jeff, Brock, Nora. Got it. This month I will ask the city attorney for his report.
I have nothing to report.
Got it, okay. Unfinished business. we are considering bill number 0547, which has created a contradiction between an existing code that we have and an IRC height requirement for gate codes to swimming pools. And so we have a bill, and Michelle, would you please read that the first time?
An ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Clarkson Valley, Missouri in Title V, Building Codes and Regulations by deleting subparagraph 2 in paragraph C, section 500.190, fence regulations, and adding a new subparagraph 2 in paragraph C, section 500.190, fence regulations.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the bill.
Do you want to read that the second time? A second?
I'll second that.
An ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Clarkson Valley, Missouri in Title V, Building Codes and Regulations by deleting subparagraph 2 in paragraph C, section 500.190, fence regulations, and adding a new subparagraph 2 in paragraph C, section 500.190, fence regulations. And I don't, for anyone who isn't familiar, this is just adding some language to our code that was kind of, it needed gate latches, and that was caught by Alderperson Schiller. And so we've added that now so that it reflects exactly what the code, the IRC says.
Yeah, we'll be in compliance with that. So at that point, we have a motion and a second. Anybody need to discuss anything? Can I have a roll call vote, please, Michelle?
Honora Schiller,
Yes.
Josh White,
Yes.
Andrew Lowe,
Yes.
Brock McDonald,
Yes.
That is excellent. Bill number 0547 has passed. Thank you. Eye Care Partners lease agreement and update on storage space allowance. I have contacted these folks probably 3-4 times since we met with them in 6 weeks ago, I guess. And I finally got a reply today from Lauren McLaughlin, who is the property management, on-the-ground property management person, and her supervisor, Chris Beeson. They are working with the legal department to come up with a lease. I explained to them that we are all ready to post bids for work to be done in the space to modify the office, but we obviously don't want to go to those lengths without having a guarantee that we're going to be allowed to modify and occupy that space. So hopefully they're working on it. I also explained to them that in the interest of their offer of such a minimal lease of $1 a month, we would be happy to be very flexible in their building permit fees should any arise. I would be more than happy to waive those. So that would not preclude them from being required to apply for building permits and inspections just for everybody's safety, but I think that's a pretty good trade-off. So,
I don't know if we can do that.
can we?
You can. You don't have to collect your
Do we want
fees.
to do that?
Well, we're paying $1 a month a lease,
I know before we weren't paying anything.
or $12. You're gonna argue with $12? Do you have a
No,
problem?
I just said before that we weren't paying anything. You know, for the last, 2-3 years, we weren't paying anything.
Right. So I don't have, I will, do
And
we want
Michelle
to
has something.
vote on that?
I have heard that in Chesterfield, they don't charge Rockwood School District, our Parkway, for their building permit fees, because their thought is that ultimately the resident pays, their resident, so they don't charge. I don't know if that's still true, but that was maybe a dozen years ago.
Okay, so just to clarify, in order, do you want to be noted in the minutes that you object to that?
No, I was just wondering if it was legal to do. I was asking Catherine.
Yeah, I'd already checked, so yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is because obviously they're giving us a very, very good lease agreement, and we are still going to do the inspections, but we are being compensated for these inspections by the reduced rent. I mean, a lot of agencies waive fees for nursing home inspections and hospitals, certain charitable hospitals, I know various agencies reduce or eliminate their fees
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine then, thank you.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
on.
Waiving fees? Or wait till we get a lease?
Let's wait until you get a lease
Yeah,
and wait
okay.
until something comes in.
Okay. New business, Resolution 2405, and this is ARPA, and this is to approve the disbursement to Kerrs Mill Estates for their street repair that they have already completed, right?
Yes.
It's done? Okay. So may I have a motion and a second to discuss and vote?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2405.
Second?
I'll second that.
I need a roll call, please. Michelle, can you call the roll?
May I read this first?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Clarkson Valley approving the payment of American Rescue Plan Act, which is ARPA, funds to the Homeowners Association of Kerrs Mill Estates.
Okay, now I guess we need a motion and a second to discuss and vote, or just go?
We did that already.
Yeah, I think just roll call.
I printed out the wrong sheet, sorry. Call the roll, Michelle, please.
Andrew Lowe,
I abstain.
Jeff Schweig,
Yes.
Honora Schiller,
Yes,
and Brock McDonald.
Yes.
So based on the quorum here,
It
it
passes.
passes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we need to discuss a request from Kerrs Mill Trails to modify their ARPA application. They're concerned because their project, the dam reparations, will probably take greater period of time than perhaps ARPA would allow. They would like to modify their application to utilize the funds available for their road maintenance. So, I guess I need a motion and a second to discuss and vote on this change.
Will they be submitting a new application package?
Whatever's necessary. So, do we want to
I'd like to see their application.
wait till we do that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we will. Okay. Okay. All right, then need to discuss the 24-25 budget. I'd like to get a motion and a second to discuss and vote on the budget as presented.
I make a motion that we discuss the budget.
I'll second that.
Okay? Who wants to start?
Why did we decrease the amount of real estate tax revenue
Hang on, let me get to that page.
when actually it was higher so far this year by $5,000? And we have another month to go. Of course, most people have already paid, but we're decreasing at 7%. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, Nora, decrease the what?
Real estate tax revenue.
That was based on numbers that we had when Lynn and I started constructing this budget. And at that time, we did not have a $22,000 check that came in after that time. So this number reflects what we had, information on we had up to date. So in that case, it would probably revert back to, we'd probably be able to increase that to be more consistent with what took place last year, or what it was based on last year.
So you were thinking of putting it back to the 134?
Somewhere in that neighborhood, but I'd have to talk to Lynn about it, because he and I conferred on it.
Because we can't approve it then tonight if we don't have the
That's correct, but
figures.
we can discuss it.
Okay, we're just discussing, okay.
If I could also add something on that.
Yes, please.
Normally, that amount of money is withheld from the people who contested their real estate. And then now, if they were not awarded their request, then they have to pay it now. Historically, it always came in April. So we were really looking at this, thinking that this was it. And, you know, it wasn't a good year. It all came in May.
I did have a question around the interest income line item. So we're budgeting 75,000, but my bigger question is the year-to-date numbers that Michelle provided earlier. It's only shown that we've got $1,500 in interest year-to-date. Is that because the CDs we have only pay out when they mature, or we're budgeting 75,000, which rates are way up, so I'm not surprised to see a high number. I was just more thrown off by the fact that even if I annualize the April numbers, it's less than $2,000.
Well, to your point, one of the things that we're kind of struggling with is the statements that we've received from Central Trust are a little difficult to understand. And I had an appointment, I guess, last month with two of the folks from the trust company, and they were very helpful in explaining everything. And to date, Michelle has not included those numbers on the current budgets because, again, this is money that is not readily available to us, so it's not something in our monthly budget per se. But now that we have a better understanding of how these statements read, we will look at including that going forward.
Okay.
On the gasoline tax, you also had a decrease even though we're higher today.
And Lynn and I just took a look at the numbers and basically split the difference between 23 and 24.
Yeah, because through this month, we're 9,000 over.
But that's now, this was based on what we had then as well.
So that, I'm just saying that that's something you're gonna look at then?
We can? Yeah.
Okay. What about traffic fines? Those are down even though we're up.
Traffic what? I'm sorry?
Traffic fines?
I guess I'm not.
Would be
Underneath
maybe,
gas tax.
Where? I'm sorry?
It's underneath
Oh,
gas.
wait. I need the big one, sorry.
Yeah, it's in the back.
No, I moved it. Okay, which one is it?
The traffic signs right there.
Oh, thank you.
So down 13% from 2023.
Chris, you might be able to better answer that. Why are our traffic fines down? We just took numbers, Lynn and I just took the numbers available to us and estimated based on what we saw that, okay, in 2024, it was about 30,000. In 2023, it was 43. And so we sort of took a
Well, we have 40,000 to date now,
now,
so yeah.
yes. But we took a happy medium at the time. I mean, it's not an exact science. You don't know how many people are going to be sailing down Kerrs Mill Road or Clarkson Road, so.
it might be.
Why is our miscellaneous up so much higher this year for revenue?
Well, let me tell you why it was high in 2022. I did look that one up. And that one was because we closed our bank account. And that money had to be shown someplace. So that was, and then it was transferred into another, it should reflect that way. It doesn't, so I have to look into that. But now this year, is it miscellaneous costs or the revenue?
Revenues.
Yeah, 7,000 more than,
Okay, and that, I think that one is because there was a house on Quiet Creek Court that instead of getting insurance for the cost of construction that we take 1.5% on a new home of the cost of the home. And so, instead of buying insurance, he wrote us a check. So then, you know, again, I had to do something with that check, and then that should be reflected in the revenue expenses as well. But I think that's the biggest thing.
Miscellaneous.
Okay, so in 2024, it was $9,500, thereabouts. Okay. Okay.
Under expenses with computer, is that mainly the IT that you're budgeting higher?
Probably, yes, because we know that we are going to have to be switching IT companies. Thank you, sir. And those expenses will go up because Brock and Andrew won't have to be leaping across the table to monitor all this, and hopefully Andrea won't have to either. So yes, we are going to increase expenses for that.
Why
So
are
that-
telephone expenses going up?
Well, one thought was that whoever we get to come in, and at that time, we were also talking about Michelle's phone expenses, so that would be an increase. And if we get a full-time hire in, the thought is that we will get a full-time city cell phone number that this individual will be able to utilize, which would eliminate Michelle's using her personal equipment and exposing that vulnerability to sunshine law.
I actually removed mine from the audit the last 2 months, but at any rate, that's what they were thinking.
Do you need a cell phone?
Yes, I think
For
we do.
city?
Yes, because if someone comes in, to Michelle's point, and someone demands cell phone records, etc., that's a sunshine law production, and if she's cursing out her oldest, youngest son or somebody because they did something bad, that may not be something that any one of us wishes to share with the neighborhoods.
No, I didn't know if you needed a cell phone in the office. That was my question.
No, this would be a cell phone in the office or out of the office. So, and either way it's used, wherever it's used, cost is gonna be the same. And Andrew, I think you can probably speak better to what costs you saw when we were talking about this earlier. You guys had looked at some cell phone plans, right, or no?
Well, through the course of getting the building commissioner an iPad, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and, you know, anytime you're like, have a group of services, the price goes down. So it's, yeah, cell
So-
phone isn't outrageous.
Yeah,
And when
so
you combine
right-
it with other things, it gets cheaper.
Yeah, per item,
Yeah.
proportionately, yeah.
I guess still a broader question is, do we need the cell phone though? Because we have the office phone when when the city is closed for business. The city's closed for business, so we conduct all of our business in the city hall offices, unless we
That's-
expect people to answer the phone in the evenings or whatever. I don't know.
That's true, but if we close the office for a reason, weather, or one of the office staff is out on the road, they have no method by which to communicate other than an office cell phone.
And I just throw out, I know over the past several years, more and more, I know there's times that Michelle wants to get a hold of me about something, and if I'm in court, if I'm driving, I don't have the email up on the computer, or I'm not answering calls, but it's a quick text to me because she needs an answer, and that gets my attention, and she gets her answer a lot quicker via texting. I'm just saying it's a convenient method to communicate.
And we can't text from a hardwired phone.
Not that I know of.
Right. Okay, so, next question.
Well, I know there's been times she's been sitting with you at City Hall and
Yep.
has to text me to get my attention.
Why do
Not
we
that it's all
expect the
about me.
legal notices to go up?
Which legal notices are we referring to?
It says legal notices.
Right above salaries on the expenses. It's up 300% compared to 23.
Michelle, I don't recall exactly, and Lynn's not here. Do you remember what we talked about there,
Yes,
please?
there are two ways that you can legitimately notice a meeting legally. And one is in a magazine that no one reads. And that's so I've talked to Mayor McNamara, and that's pretty much what we use a lot, because that was $15. When you go to the West News magazine, those ads, those little bitty ads are like $150 to $250 each. But Mayor McNamara feels that, just sunshineable, so that all the residents can see what's going on. And these meeting notices or these legal notices, but it's a must do. You have to do that by law. So anyway, and we're going to do that from now on.
Okay.
So we haven't done that in the past?
Not in that particular publication.
Okay.
We've done it in a real small, very limited.
Right, planning and zoning meetings. Those are really important, but some of these other legal notices, we're going to start doing that now.
I noticed in both salary line items are up. Salaries for non-mayor, non-alderman is up 38%.
Yes. And that is a result of a conversation you and I had. Brock, you and I believe Andrew had expressed interest in exploring the increase of the compensation for the alderman.
Well, that wouldn't take into
No.
the 38% though.
No, you're right. But it would, what Lynn and I determined was that if this was voted on and approved by the council to increase the aldermanic compensation, that would probably take place relatively quickly, but it would be staggered because this year it would be applicable to people who are elected in April of next year. And then after that, it would be the second year of election that those folks would get the increase. My compensation would not be eligible for any increase until 2027. So I don't really figure into that. But what we did was take roughly a couple $100 based on some of the numbers we'd seen from other cities and the way their aldermanic members are compensated, and we chose that number.
So, but the 38% is for city hall employees.
City hall employees will
I didn't ask about the alderman's salaries. I
City
figured
hall
that.
employees will definitely go up. We are considering, one, we had to account for Michelle's salary per her contract. Andrea has been much more involved and much more active, and we are contemplating hiring a full-time person who would be a certified city clerk, and we had to take that into account. So that's going to be an increase, and at this point, we don't really know what that amount will be, and that will be.
I think we should discuss salaries at the closed meeting later,
Right, but that number.
rather than now.
That number will be something that you have available once I send you all that information.
Okay.
And Honora, I'm sorry, we are not addressing specific numbers. We are talking about generalities, and I'm explaining the budget increase. Okay, elected salary, $4,500.
But you have to know how much you're increasing it to the people to know. We always knew what we were increasing it.
We don't want to discuss that in an open meeting.
I know, that's why I said we'll discuss it at the closed
Right,
meeting.
yes, we will.
Right.
$4,500 for solar-powered radar indicators. You can speak to this nice woman back at the back there. This would come out of ARPA funds if they so choose to utilize that money in that direction.
Did we talk about the solars, any type of signage vis-a-vis ARPA previously? I feel like we did, but like from some guidance we got from Bob Jones, it's been so long.
I mean, basically, since we're spending money on the roads, and obviously any type of signage is a informational public safety, reduce speed, directional, avoid collisions. It's a safe harbor under ARPA for the spending of public money for public awareness and promoting public safety. But I don't know what we discussed. I thought we could have. We just talked
Yeah,
about so
I
much
could have been
stuff.
remembering wrong too, so
I
just
do,
asked.
I do remember some concern about that, but I think we could legitimately defend that sort of an expenditure based on.
I think the difference is like a welcome to Clarkson Valley sign compared to a speed radar sign, you know, something like that.
Okay, so, where am I here?
When you look at the budget again, the payroll taxes, you have a decrease, and the salaries, you have an increase. That doesn't go along with each other.
And Michelle, Lynn and I and you talked about that, and I don't remember specifically what the rationale was. Do you recall?
We just took the, and I think it was done by cell phones, but we took the dollar amount times 7.65, which is
Yeah,
the taxes.
the tax rate, yeah.
Yeah, for Social Security and Med.
Is our sanitation contract up and police up?
I
That
think
they're increasing?
we've got another couple of years on this. It doesn't have to be amended this year. I think, what do we have, 2 more years?
Yes.
On, 2,
We're going into, oh, it's a 5-year, so I think we have 3
Right.
more years.
3 more years, okay. And what about Republic? Is it 3 also?
Public, we've just got 2 more years.
That's, okay, that's the 2 years,
And
okay.
then you'll need a budget.
Yeah.
So we paid 185,000 in 2023 for the sanitation, but we're budgeting 198. Does our contract escalate yearly? Is that how that
yes,
works?
they do come back and say, okay, we need a little more for whatever, increase in salaries, increase in gasoline taxes, et cetera, so.
And that's part of the contract,
Yeah.
those types of annual.
Yeah.
It's set. They gave us they also gave us a 5-year contract. We have 2 more years left. And I believe the increase is 4% per year, but don't quote me on that one.
Yeah, there's a specific number in the contract by which they are allowed to increase on an annual basis,
Okay.
so. Okay? Does that answer everybody's questions? Hello?
I'm good.
Okay, Honora?
And yeah, to answer my questions. So are we gonna
Andrew?
vote on it next month, or what are we doing?
Well, if there are enough questions that when Lynn is here and we can all respond together, I think that would be best. Andrew, do you have any questions?
Think it all got covered. Thank you.
Excellent, okay. So, Cruise on Trails, they're gonna get a new application, okay. All right, we are going to establish a formal hiring committee, and that will consist of myself, Lynn, and Andrew.
Sorry, where are we on?
Oh, the one in the packet doesn't have item D under new business because I picked it up at the door. It would be item D under new business.
Oh.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I had.
On the door has
Sorry.
item D though, right? Okay.
Yeah. I don't,
Oh, no, we saw this in our email.
Yes,
We've
yeah.
seen it, it's just
but
not,
not in this book.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
sorry, I
probably got
forgot.
pulled out of the Google Drive folder.
Okay. So, to that end, again, we are looking at, Lynn and Andrew and I are gonna have to consider how we're gonna do this going forward. Michelle is, obviously here, and we've discussed hiring, as I mentioned, a full-time person who would be able to follow in her footsteps. And, Andrea has also expressed an interest in working more hours as available. So Lynn and Andrew and I are going to be the formal committee to develop this process and interview people going forward.
Excuse me, I volunteered last month to be on the committee.
And at this
and-
point, we had decided that based on the last time we had a committee of a number of people, we felt that too many cooks tend to spoil the broth, it gets confusing. So Andrew and Lynn had both, Lynn is president of the board, and I asked Andrew, since he's done so much work and finished pretty much the IT stuff, if he would help and participate. And he agreed to do
Usually
so.
you want someone from each ward, so I assumed that you wanted someone from Ward 2.
Well, at this point, we're limiting it to those two elected officials and myself. Going forward, if we determine that perhaps a third person would be beneficial, we would certainly do that.
So it's your decision.
At this point, yes.
My question is, did the board ever approve a third position? Have we ever gone there?
A third position, no, we have not done that yet. So
Yeah, the
that's-
committee technically has not been formed. Item D under new business is to approve the establishment of the committee. And I think the suggestion is the mayor and the two alder persons. So tonight is the request for approval,
Right.
as I understand it.
Yes.
And obviously, y'all can comment on it and discuss it.
In addition to that, since Brock exercises such proficiency with data gathering and compilation, I've asked him to compile the policies and information on policies that we've gotten from other cities to discover what the salary ranges are, what benefits are offered, etc. I've gotten policies from various cities which are 26 and 30-something pages long. We obviously don't need something to that's that extensive. But I did get a really good framework from MML just the other day. It's 4 pages long, and it covers vacation pay, sick pay, training, employee reimbursement, etc. It's pretty simple, succinct, and to the point. So it might be a good place for us to start. But I have asked Brock to work with compiling all this information, and then Lynn and Andrew and I can take a look at that with Brock and compare what we've got and pull out the bits and pieces that we feel might be most applicable. So formal, I'm
Will
sorry.
the board approve everything that you come up with? Will we get
Absolutely.
to interview the person you come up with also?
At this point, it would be the hiring committee who would interview. Unless.
We wouldn't.
Is that required? That the entire board review this person?
Well, it's the board who hires and fires.
Okay.
The problem is, it's been, Michelle, when you rehired, I mean, it's like, I can remember in our life, it's been so long since we hired another full-time person.
Yeah. It's been a while.
But honestly, the board has to hire or the board has to fire. It's you guys have to discuss it, whether you come
Okay.
to with a recommendation, like a final, here's our person, bring them to a meeting if you want to. I mean, it's a group decision.
No, and I would have no problem with, once we narrow it down, assuming we get more than 1 or 2 candidates, then I think the most efficient process is for the hiring
Yeah.
committee to sort through.
Because I know when we talked to, I know Jeff and Len and talked about, and the idea was the committee narrows it down, reviews the resumes, does the initial interviews, gets maybe the consent that this
the
is our
best
recommendation.
candidates. Yeah,
And then that, if the rest of the board wants to talk, they can set up a meeting, or close meeting to interview.
Yeah, at that point, then.
That was kind of
yes.
the thought process, but I think you're gonna set some procedures once you get up and running.
Right. Yes, absolutely. But to your point, Nora, we're just sorting through, we want to keep the volume down and select who we feel would be.
Right, I
the mo-
worked in lab management for 13 years. I hired a lot of people because we had 100 full and part-time people working 24/7, so I am very familiar with the hiring process.
Good, okay, excellent. So at this point, I'd like a motion and a second to discuss and vote on this committee. We have a motion and a second?
I'll move to approve the committee.
Second? Do we have a second?
No, does not appear to have a second.
Apparently not. Okay. All right, moving right along. Audit. Lynn and I completed the budget for 24-25. You'll note some changes. For instance, we have now included public safety in the general budget rather than having broken it out in a separate section.
Are we talking about the audit? I'm sorry.
The new audit, yes.
The revenue expense report is what you're referring to, right? The auditors, the invoices that need to be paid.
Well, there's that one, but I was actually referring to the audit that, we already discussed that, yes, so, I'm sorry. Yes, the audit for this month. And we also need to, I need a motion and a second to discuss and vote on the April audit as it was previously approved via email. Motion and a second to discuss and vote?
Did everyone approve the audit in April?
I believe
so.
Yeah,
The email.
yeah.
We had 4 that approved the audit. We had 2 that we did not hear from, and that was Greg and Andrew. We didn't hear from you on that one.
What? No, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I answered.
Well, I didn't receive it. Brock actually
Sorry.
that's okay. It was 4 votes though, which is all we've ever needed. There was and there were a few exceptions to the audit that, they approved the audit, but there were exceptions to that, and there were just 2 bills, and do you want me to name them, or just, are you all familiar with the 2?
No, go ahead and
Okay,
that'd be great.
one was the kind of architect that designed our room changes, and so that was $200, and the second invoice for $50. And then there was the auditor, and Mayor McNamara visited the auditor to find out how some of this reporting was done.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering why you didn't ask Greg, because he was going to help you with the bank statements. Did you
Because-
ask him?
I did ask him, and he was not available. So I went to, this is not the bank statements. This involved the procedures, the office procedures. Scott previously went through all the reconciliations, and Michelle never did this. So she couldn't explain what was necessary and how it was done. So I went to meet with the auditor so he could explain what was going on, and I did that.
Okay, the auditor always went through it every year, so I would have thought that if there was a problem, he would have told us.
There was no problem on his part, to the best of my knowledge. It was a lack of understanding on our part.
What Mayor McNamara was supposed to do when she looked at these. She had the whole reconciliation is right there in front of her, but she asked me, and I said, "You look for fraud. Any area of concern that you think fraud would sneak in." And then she said, "Well, where would I look for that?" I don't know. So then that's when she just decided it would be best to go to the auditor and ask him what to look for.
And in Michelle's defense, as I said, Scott always did this, so she couldn't explain how it happened, how it worked either. So I made an appointment with the auditor to do that, and he explained it very clearly, so we're good.
Okay, that's good. No, we always have it audited anyway, every year, so they would explain if
But
we
this
have
is
a
something that
problem.
needs to be done once a month, and I don't like pushing something down 12 months without knowing how to do it. I balance my checkbook every month. I do this every month. So that $200 was incurred as that was a professional fee. I could have posted it that way, but we chose to put it in miscellaneous. So,
So let me ask, I'm not knowing, was it paid or we are getting approval for it tonight?
and it was paid.
It was paid?
Yeah,
Okay, so,
yeah, it was paid.
But we only had 3 approvals.
I think
Seven.
four, just didn't hear from Andrew, and he thought he voted. But you had 4 approvals, right? Or
Andrew's
not-
probably approving it. so
or not
we
on-
have 4.
I had 4 people who approved the audit, one with an exception.
Okay.
And.
And was that the auditor fee?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Can,
So now we just kind of have to ratify what we did electronically for the city records, that they did vote and they were ratifying these prior payments.
right, and wouldn't the vote of 3-1 approve the audit or not?
Well, in absence of a quorum, the quorum's 4. I mean, they proved overall, 4 approved the audit,
Right,
generally, but it sounds like there was an issue regarding that one expense,
right?
because the only 3 is not the majority of the board,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Can Andrew approve it tonight?
But you all can approve it tonight. Yeah, you can vote tonight to ratify what you did, because most of it was ratified, just this one bill, but we just want to make a clean record that we are ratifying the payment of the April bills as previously approved by 4 aldermen, and in the minutes will describe the nature of that bill and why we are saying that was proper.
Okay, so in that case, we need a motion and a second to vote on the accepting the April amendment or audit as was distributed via email, correct?
Yes, and then as clarified tonight.
So I can
Most-
make a motion to ratify, excuse me, the April audit that we approved by email. Supposedly.
I guess, yep.
Second?
Second.
Aye, nay,
I'm sorry, what ended up happening with the snow removal reimbursement? That was part of the discussion as
Oh,
well.
it was only the maximum allowed. We didn't go over any of those.
Okay. Because I
Okay,
saw we
so-
had, Lynn was against, or no, I'm sorry, Lynn was in favor of going up to the maximum, even if they, I'm sorry. He was okay with going up to the amount that was submitted, even if it went over.
Right,
And the other 3 of us were not in favor of that.
right. And
Okay, so it just stayed with what they submitted, right?
It was.
Okay,
It did.
that makes sense. All right, now I'm caught up.
Okay, now to go back to the audit approval. I need a motion and a second.
We had it.
We have that.
Okay.
Now we just need a vote.
Now I need a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion passes, the audit is accepted. I need a motion and a second to accept the May audit as posted.
I have a question.
Okay?
You were going to the MML annual conference for training?
Yes?
What workshops are you going to train on?
I
The
have not-
homeless ones or what?
I have not I have canceled that reservation.
You have canceled it. That's
Yes.
good.
Why is it good?
Because you have to have approval for anything over $200 before you spend it, number 1. And number 2, I looked at the agenda and there isn't anything that pertains to our city. So why go?
You know, I will be very clear that last year when I went, I got a lot of information and benefited greatly from that. In addition to that, I think, don't I, as mayor, have the opportunity to, under RISMO 50.660, spend up to, I think, $14,000 for money in the approved budget?
I don't know, which one is that? I'll have to look.
RISMO 50.660. And as we have money in the budget for training, that would certainly qualify for that. And in fact, I don't recall having voted, the need to vote on that last year, did we? I don't think so. No. So I think that's not necessary.
I don't know. I'll have to look at that.
But your objection is again noted.
Okay. So you're taking that off anyway.
And that was the 400? Was that the line item we're talking about?
The 400 and also the hotel, I guess.
Correct.
191.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Miscellaneous.
One other question.
Yes.
On Kurzwood, we've already paid them, and now we're paying them again.
Michelle? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We had a question about the Kurzwood.
Kurzwood, it showed up last month on the audit, and now we're showing up again.
Yes,
Which amount was right?
well, they found an additional invoice.
But this is more than, it goes over their maximum.
Just,
Oh, it does?
no,
Yes.
just under it. I just looked. It's under
No,
by
if you
20
add the
bucks.
two together, it's over. Because we paid them the maximum amount allowed.
Well, no, we paid them the lesser of what they submitted.
Because I thought it was,
So
the
Kurzwood,
maximum.
last month, where is that? I'm sorry. Oh, Kurzwood. You're right. You're right, actually. I was looking at another line. I was looking at Kings Point. My apologies. Yeah, so we did pay out $2,304 to Kurzwood last month.
Well, I come up with 3524 and they're allowed 3577.
that isn't what it showed on the audit last month.
What? This I already paid, so this amount was paid. I don't think it was reflected on the last month's audit, and that's why I added it to this with that asterisk. It just says that this wasn't on last month's. It was probably on my spreadsheet, but I'm not sure that it was reflected on the audit request. So I felt I had to add it, but it's already been paid. But, so 3524 is their total amount, and they were allowed 3577.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong column on my spreadsheet, personally. The spreadsheet that you sent out at the details after last Tuesday's meeting, the long email chain from last month where we
Right.
approved everything, that it does show $3,577 as their
Maximum.
maximum for the 23-24 winter.
And I think those two payments actually total up to $3,526, so.
Something like that, yeah.
That should,
It would
I'll have
be
to
on
look at
there.
that again because I had gone through it a couple times and, yeah.
I'll double check everything. Let's see, I've actually got the audit here.
Well, Brock said he saw it on his,
Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
5/20/24 shows max reimbursement amount for Kurzwood, 3,577, right? Is that what you
Right.
had?
And,
3,577?
yes, and I've got that, I showed that they are only requesting 2304.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, they sent this invoice that they found. So it was just a late arrival.
okay.
But the star on the audit for this month, that means we paid them previously, right?
This month,
Okay.
yes.
okay, miscellaneous. Does anybody have any specific miscellaneous?
Have we approved the
No,
audit?
we gotta
I'm
approve the
sorry,
audit.
I'm sorry. There was enough discussion, it was like, just, okay, I need a motion and a vote, motion and a second to, I
I
suppose
make a
we've already
motion.
discussed, let's vote.
I make a motion to approve the audit for May of 2024.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Nay?
Aye.
Motion passes, the audit is accepted, thank you. Okay. Miscellaneous, anybody have any miscellaneous things to discuss?
I do not.
Nope, nope. The only miscellaneous item I would have is the issue in Dunhill again, which went to housing court tonight. I asked Honora and Brock if either one of you had been in touch with them. And again, I would like you to reach out to any or all of those folks just to get a reading on it, so next month you can report on what happened. Okay, Okay, at this time, I'd like a motion and a second to go into closed meeting to discuss some staff issues. Do we call the roll or a motion and?
We need a motion first.
And a second,
Yeah.
please?
A motion to go and close and the reason why per statutory reference.
I make a motion we go into closed session to discuss personnel issues.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please, Michelle?
Lenore Schiller,
Yes.
Andrew Little,
Yes.
Brett McDonald,
Yes.
Josh Fry.
Yes.
Okay. Michelle, would you please read the verbiage for that?
I did not print that, Mayor, I'm sorry.
You stated the reason,
I thought
would be
someone
under,
was
yeah, 610-021, section 1, regarding hiring, firing, disciplining, promoting employees within, and/or, since I'm here, in privileged communications from the city and its attorney under 610-021, section 1 and section 3. So you guys are good to go into close?
We have to dismiss people.
Yep. Okay, at this time, we are going to ask that you all depart, since this will be a closed meeting, so thank you very much.
Have an enjoyable evening.